This wall needed to be smoothed out, and I'm gonna show you a secret skim coating method the pros don't want you to know. And I'm gonna do it by using this paint roller. It's that easy, so stick around and let's get to it right now. This is Dude Sawdust, and I'm Carpenter Logan. This is the first video of a two-part series where I'm gonna take this wall and put wall trim on it. It's also known as wainscoting, and it's going to be a board and batten style. This is something that my wife really wants, and anything that happens inside the house, she definitely has most of the say as the style. She likes to go conservative, and board and batten is a very conservative approach. Let me be honest. If it was totally up to me, I'd probably do something a little more wild, but my wife likes it conservative, and since it's the inside of the house, well, she has the final say. So this is going to be a great experience and a great process. In this first video, I'm going to show you how I take these baseboards off, we call that the demo, and I'm going to skim these walls. There's texture on these walls right now, and we want to make it smooth and flat to show a contrast between the wall trim area and the rest of the wall. Well, let's get to taking these baseboards out, because I'm tired of them. When removing baseboard, there are a few essential tools that I always like to use. A crowbar, hammer, wrench, 5-in-1 painter's tool, an X-Acto knife, and something hard to put against the wall. I saved this piece of flooring for these cases specifically. I'm going to start off by scoring this line along the caulk with the X-Acto knife. Then, this 5-in-1 tool is great for getting a bit of a separation. When we create the separation, allows us to get the crowbar in there. Use this so we don't damage the wall. And that's pretty much the process we're going to use all along this, so follow me as I go. You may have some leftover brad nails stuck in that wall, and that's what the pliers are for. Although I think we got most of them out. Gotta double check. Before we apply the joint compound, also known as sheetrock, I need to prep the wall. What I want to do is make it a slightly smoother surface so we're taking off the high points. I'm going to use a joint knife and scrape off the high points. I'm going to follow that with a random orbital sander. You could use a pole sander. It's like a rectangle end with a pole, and you would scrape off the sides. I chose not to use that because that would create a lot of dust. This has great dust collection with the shop vac, so I'm going to go with the random orbital sander. So let's prep these walls. Our surface is now completely prepped and we're ready to apply the joint compound. I used a 120 grit sandpaper on the random orbital sander, and I must say that this worked like a charm. The only purpose of this sanding is to take off the high points, so when we apply the joint compound, we don't see anything sticking out. I'm getting a little old, and I realized halfway through or a quarter way through, I had to turn to the old trusty D-pad, so I recommend those too if you're doing a low-line job like this. This is everything you're going to need for skim coating, also known as wall skimming. First, of course, your USG all-purpose joint compound. We got a 14-inch mud pan, 3/4 inch roller, a mixing arm for the drill, a knockdown trowel, as well as a 12-inch taping knife, paint grid for a 5-gallon bucket, a 6-inch joint knife, and of course your paint roller and pole, however you prefer. Everything here is everything you need for this job. Let's get to it. Time to mix. We're gonna add some water and then mix to get kind of a yogurt consistency. You want to mix from the bottom, kind of work your way up. If you have a long wall like I do, I recommend cutting it in half and doing one section and then doing the next section. We're only going to be applying one coat right now. We're going to let that dry and then we're going to do a second coat. So the first coat's not going to look perfect, but let's get started. It's important to get it on nice and smooth. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you want to get plenty on there. This roller's having a hard time at first, and I noticed if I let up on the pressure that I was applying to the wall, I got a better spin on the roller. So you kind of want it to look a little bit like this. With the 12-inch knife and the 14-inch mud pan, we're going to smooth this out. Doesn't matter which direction you go in, but we're going to smooth it out. It's not going to look perfect yet because this is just the first coat. You'll notice, if you can see with the camera, there are some lines here. I'm going to fix that by applying pressure to my right-hand side since I'm going left to right. Apply more pressure on this right side and you'll see those disappear. First half's done, now let's work on the second half. Also, it's important that you're not afraid to apply it as much as you want on the first coat. Of course, don't overdo it, but there's no reason to go skimpy on it. Sometimes you'll have some areas that you want to put a little extra on, and that's fine. You can use this or the brush, either way. The first coat is going to look perfect, but for the second coat, we're going to go for perfection or near perfection. Oh, and it takes about 24 hours to dry, unless you have one of the fast drying kind. But I don't have one of those, so we'll resume tomorrow. We're back after 24 hours. This wall, the first coat, has already had time to dry. I just want to point out to you, these are some of the areas that we're really going to focus on. Some of the areas that didn't quite get that full first coat. There's a handful of patches like that, and that's okay. We're going to go for more this goal for the rest and smooth it out to make it look nice. Once again, applying pressure on the right side, letting up on the left side. That way we don't create those lines. Now I'm going to use the knockdown knife to try to smooth it out. It's a good idea to wet it before you get started. Just want to point out to you that even after you do that second coat, you're still going to have some areas like this. And it's okay just to go back over there with a little bit extra material, joint compound, and cover those up, and then smooth them out. I was thrilled with the way the second coat went on. It came on so smooth. Of course, there are imperfections, but once this dries in 24 hours, I'm going to come back and sand and take out those imperfections. In the end, I think this went really, really smooth. Like I said from the very beginning, the paint roller trick is a trick that even the pros use, and some of them don't. But I think it's the best way to get the smoothest coat possible. There's no doubt that if you try the paint roller trick, you'll be happy with the results. It's the next day and this wall is dry and ready to be sanded. If you look here, there are some imperfections, and that's what the sanding is going to take care of. I got 220 grit on this random orbital sander. That's nice and smooth. I bumped it up to about a medium speed, and it took it off perfectly. So I'm going to go over the rest of this wall with this. It's on this Bosch. It's a speed of a 4 out of 6, and we're going to make this wall look really nice. I mentioned earlier that putting on joint compound takes about 24 hours to dry, and that's what it says on the actual package that it comes in. But it doesn't really take 24 hours to dry if you're only applying it so thin. Now for my schedule, it works better just to come back the next day and apply the second coat, third coat, or whatever. But for you, if you're just applying a thin coat like this, just 2 or 3 hours is really all you need. If you have any skim coating tips or stories, I'd love to hear about them in the comments, so leave a comment down below. And if you like this video, click that like button. And if you don't like this video, click that like button. That would really help me out a lot. Also, any of the products and tools that I use in this video, there will be links, affiliate links, in the description of the video. Click on that, click on the link, go get whatever you need, because everything that I use is everything you're going to need. Stay tuned for my next video. I'm going to do wall trim part 2, in which I show how I put trim and baseboard and battens on this. It's going to be a great board and batten project. The wife's going to love it. I'm really excited about it. So thanks for watching. I'm Carpenter Logan. This is Dude Sawdust, and we'll see you on the next time.